So it's another wonderful day today, and I thought today I'd like to introduce a new series, and this series will be on belief systems, traditions, philosophical and or metaphysical organizations. And as we're coming up to Easter, I thought, what better system to look at than that of Wicca? Now, Wicca is one of those belief systems that's very close to my heart. I first started studying Wicca from a serious perspective in the early part of the 90s. But enough about me. Let's get on to what it actually is. Some people call it witchcraft, but it's more of an umbrella of various traditions that may describe themselves as relating to witchcraft. But in fact, I personally think it's progressed a little further than perhaps what we saw with the kind of witchcraft practiced by Gerald Gardner. And I say that because that tradition still had really quite a rigid structure and was based on a progression of initiations. And to say that you were a follower of the Gardnerian tradition really meant that you rigorously accepted the beliefs and initiatory structure of the Gardnerian tradition. And so that is the same for many traditions in witchcraft. They have their core beliefs and they have their own cycle progression. Some examples of traditions with this initiatory form include, as we've already mentioned, the Gardnerian, but we've also got the Alexandrian, the Dianic, and a form that is called traditional Wicca. But you don't have to sign on to any of these specific traditions and follow their structure or initiation cycle. If you're interested in understanding about Wicca, it's enough. You see, Wicca really has no rigid structure or rules. The only real requirement for a Wiccan is the love of nature and a desire to bond and unify with the natural forces and energies that surround us in the natural world. And that's about it. It's a nature-centric system that puts nature and our environment at the center of everything. It's a very open system. You may choose to follow a structured and initiatory path if that is your want, so long as in accordance with a nature-centric ideology. You may borrow whatever from whatever traditions and incorporate them into your own system. And there's many places to look to for inspiration. There's Celtic Wicca and Norse Wicca, Saxon Wicca, and then there are those that specialise, such as hedge Wiccans, green Wiccans, and even kitchen Wiccans. Now, there are those that will argue there's a difference between Wicca and witchcraft, and they'll say that Wicca is the actual spiritual belief system, whereas witchcraft is the actual art of working with nature. Now, this depends on your viewpoint as to whether Wicca incorporates all forms of witchcraft. But regardless, if you wish to work with nature, you must share the same ideology and spiritual beliefs that are centered around nature. And while we're talking about beliefs, traditionally, there's the goddess and god that represent the duality of nature. The goddess is the triple goddess, maiden, mother, and crone, and she is represented in the phases of the moon, waxing, full, and waning. And this triplicity also reflects the life cycle: life, death, and rebirth. In fact, she may be seen as the Earth Mother herself. As for the god, he is the horned one, and he is the guardian of nature and the forests and lord of the other world. Some people name the god and goddess as Aradia and Kenounos, but it matters not what you call them, so long as they adequately represent the forces that are the duality that is nature. A person influenced by the Celtic ideology may have different gods and a completely different pantheon to those who are influenced by the Saxon ideology. These are only personifications of nature. The core concepts that these personifications represent nature are the same. Wicca is said to be the fastest growing belief system in the world today. So, let's now take a look at why. There was a time when many considered Wicca to be a load of superstitious old nonsense. But it's been understood more and more by people that what Wicca is actually doing is putting nature and the natural world and our environment at the center of our concerns. And our desire, our core aim, is to live in a peaceful harmony with nature. Our belief is that nature and the entirety of the laws of nature are the laws that govern existence. Now, this is very different to other beliefs that see a supernatural God that governs over nature. For Wiccans, nature is the divine intelligence, and some may see science as the gospel that tells us all that we currently know about nature. So nature-centric belief systems are not out of step with science. In fact, they work hand in hand in conjunction with each other. And I think that's a lot easier for most people to believe and comprehend than to believe in some supernatural being that lives somewhere up there in the sky that governs over the laws of nature. So that's the first point. For many, this is a far more logical and rational understanding of divinity and existence and creation. Now, the next point I'd like to make in regards to why this belief system is so rapidly growing is that it's a very beautiful and attractive belief system. It's based on pure spirituality and a unification with the natural world. Now, I think most of us love nature and we love our environments. And when the whole spiritual ideology of Wicca is based on a unification with our natural environment, what's not to like? And when that's all coupled up with the fact that there is no rigorous idea or structure that you must abide by, the only thing you're permitted to do is to do those things that you enjoy and gives you a greater feeling and a greater bond with your natural world. And as you progress with your practice, then very real rewards become apparent. Now, some people are attracted by the thoughts of being involved in magic and being able to control extraordinary amounts of power. And you can, and you will do, but maybe not in the way you think. The art or craft can only really be utilized or realized when it's done in conjunction with the union of nature. The purpose of ritual and magic plays a very important part in our spiritual connection in regards to our practice. And this is because every time we enact a ritual, we strengthen our bond and understanding of the natural world. And as we progress, our bond and unity and understanding becomes stronger and stronger, and our will and determination is enhanced by that force that is the unification of nature. So I hope you've all enjoyed today's episode, and if you have, give us a thumbs up. And with that, I'll see you again in another 2 weeks on the next episode.